We are now live. So,
Why
this
do I
is
have
our,
off air?
it is now live. So it is Thursday training for the Perfectly Posh Power Team. We do this every week. Just a nice chance for all of us to get together and talk about a specific topic. This week we have Tami. She's going to be talking to us and leading this training and sharing about poshing strangers and making that fun. So we are going to turn it over to her and learn all about how to posh strangers in a way that is fun and exciting for everybody. So have at it.
How's everybody doing? All right, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Tami Tumbarello. I started on Kylene's Perfectly Posh team about 4 months ago now. April, May, June, July. Yeah, about 4 months ago now. Absolutely love it. I've made it to pink twice, once in the regular and once in our incentive. My why is pretty simple. I've got a 3-year-old, I've got a 25-year-old, and I've got a 27-year-old. Love them all to pieces. Don't want them to want anything in this world for anything. I think we probably all feel that way about our kids. Kylene's asked me to go ahead and show you guys what it is that everybody hears that I do the poshinating. I love it. I love to posh strangers. I don't care who you are. Give me a cop. They're some of the favorite ones. Of course, they give me the 5 looks. I tell them, don't arrest me, please. I'm really not trying to stalk them. But basically what I do, it's pretty simple, guys. I'm going to pull my phone down and show you. Hopefully, can you all see the inside of my pocketbook here? See how it's all kind of full? Well, I have to dig through that every single time I want to try to find my key, right? And doing so, and looking for my keys or my wallet, see how little this is in comparison to that big, huge purse I just showed you all? Well, that being said, I'm going to pull out my big Posh envelope. Now, what does this do? What's the first thing you're going to do when you see this, guys? What is it? What is that big envelope in your purse? Please tell me what it is. So, of course, hold on, sorry, we're having technical difficulties. I'm trying to work in the car. Is that better? All right. So basically what I do is when they ask me these questions, I will start pulling items out of my envelope. First thing I've got my little sample of hand lotion. Perfect, right? I've got my samples that I put in these cute little white envelopes with pink polka dots. I know, Kylie, I know you love them. Inside of my little envelopes, I usually keep samples of soap, and I'll put them in cute little wrappers, make them cute like little packages, and I put little stickers on them. Try me. Okay, they've got a picture usually to go right along with them so they know what samples they've got in there. If they're not already pre-labeled, which I have a pre-label on my card. Okay, now I know, Kylene, this is your preference. You like to staple them to the card and hand them out this way. It's a great idea. I guess I'm kind of strange. I like to give them a couple of things, 2 or 3 items in every single one of their package that they get. Basically, it's real simple, guys. I walk up, I'll see somebody at a post office. Okay, she's having a horrible day. I've brought my package in. Oh my God, I wrote the wrong label. I've got to go back to my car 10 times. This is just not cool. Okay, she's having a horrible day.
Really, but it's just ridiculous the way he said
I walked
you,
up to her.
you and my
You know
mom.
what? It looks like you're having a bad day, honey. I'm really not a creeper, I swear. Okay, I want to give you a sample of Perfectly Posh. My business card is in it. Please feel free to give me a call if you have any questions. Okay, she's a customer now. She does repeat work with me. Inside of my envelope, multitasking here. I also carry, of course, my Posh papers. Okay, I don't give those out quite as much as I give out my samples, obviously. I'm kind of stingy with them, but I do give them to my doctor's offices. I give them to the dentist office. I've left a couple at a couple of the convenience stores. My salon has one, of course. With the wild and crazy hair, everybody knows exactly who I am. So that's basically, I had planned on having a person in the car with me to posh. And unfortunately, she's stuck inside of a meeting right now, and I'm really not in an area where I can get out of the car and kind of grab a stranger yet. I know that was really quick. I'm trying to think of what else I can possibly tell you guys that I do. Like I said, it's any stranger in the street. Walk up to them in a grocery store. A stranger on the sidewalk, sitting there, and they look, they've got their head held down. I saw two people the other day that, they were down and out in Beverly Hills. One was from Chicago, Illinois. The other's from Memphis, Tennessee, I believe. They just lost their jobs. They didn't have anything. I have Posh samples, don't I? Those are pretty simple to carry. I put a smile on both of their faces. I probably will not hear from them, but that's okay. Because you know what? I Posh the world one person at a time, and I made them smile. That's basically my trick, guys. I love Kylene's. I love Kylene's trick of, attaching it to a business card. However, I can't give out enough. I can't give out enough samples that way. I do it periodically, but not very often. I would suggest doing that. I know we had one gal that had just started working in, I want to say, a big medical building, if I'm not mistaken, and she wasn't sure if she was allowed to hand out samples or not. So I told her, you know what, walk into the management office. Hey, I'm the new kid on the block. I'm not really sure how your rules and regs work around here, but you know what? I'm a Posh rep. I've got some really cool samples here that I would really like to put inside of your bathroom. Just put a few of them inside the women's bathroom. You know what? I'd like to put them in the guys too, but that might get me arrested. They're either going to tell you, you know what, Tammy, you need to go away, or they're going to say, sure, not a problem. Go ahead and put them in the restroom. And you know what? If they're really nice, here, Tam, can I take a couple of those? I'll go ahead and put them in the men's room for you. It's all how you present it. It's all how you say it. A lot of you guys know me from the different groups that we're all in, and you know me. I'm the sarcastic one. I make everything into fun. I don't care what it is. And that's all that people want. They want to see a smile on your face. They want to know that, you know what, you're not just giving them some random sample, whatever. If you say it with pizzazz and excitement and, hey, I got this for you, and I'm going to put a smile on your face, okay? That comes off a little bit better, wouldn't you say? That's about all that I really have. Does anybody have any questions for me? Everybody's muted. I don't think I like this. I know
We
Kylene said she'd
mute,
be back
we
in like,
mute people.
there
We
she
mute
is.
people. We mute people because if we don't mute, then it goes back and forth with any background noise, and it's really hard, especially for people like Margot, to lip read when it
Oh,
keeps switching screens.
I
So we
forgot
have
Mark
to,
with lip reading.
yeah, we have to stay muted to make it easier, and it's even on the recording watching back for people watching back later who aren't here live, so that it makes more sense when they're watching it.
Totally understood. All right,
Yeah,
so
so we have to keep it muted. I like your suggestions about like having a positive attitude and being excited and having enthusiasm. I think, well, I'll speak for myself. It's a little awkward, right? When you're meeting with people for the first time and like you don't know who they are, and it's kind of strange to go up to them and be friendly, and so it can be really uncomfortable. And then when it gets really uncomfortable, we act really uncomfortable and nervous or kind of fidgety or make excuses or apologies for, disrupting their day to give this to them. So this is something I'm actually personally working on because I stink at poshing strangers. Um, there are certain things that I have really good skills at, like things on social media, but when it comes to in-person poshing strangers, that is not where I am naturally gifted at all. And
and
so,
I'm just the opposite, Kylene.
yeah, see, you have the personality that's just like, hey, everybody, I have posh, who wants some? And that is not me. And so I want to learn from you. What are some things you tell yourself when you go to talk to somebody that you've never talked to before? Like, do you have an internal conversation about what you're going to say to them or how you're going to approach them, or do you just kind of go up and talk to people?
Well, sometimes I do have an internal conversation like, I poshed a cop. And I really like that phrase. I really think we need to have a posh a cop phrase. So, but with him, it took me a second because he was just big guy with a gun and blah blah blah, and I'm like, he's gonna be a real pain, and I had to get myself into that mode of, okay, Tammy, he's no different than the person that you just poshed into the grocery store. Now, I gotta be honest, there are some people that I won't go generally towards. The elderly people that are cranky down here, I can't lie, I stay away from them. Margot, I'm sorry, I will sit on my hands now. Um, but I don't really say that an internal thing, Kylie. It's one of those where, like, literally, I mean, I gravitate towards will look like they're having a bad day. If you have a frown on your face or there's tears coming down your face, I naturally gravitate towards you. That's just me. So I love when people like to have a problem at the grocery store. Here, let me make you happy. I have Posh samples. It's just I can't say that there's one specific group I go toward. It's just my
Okay.
personality.
So anyone and everyone is a Posh possibility then for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What about anyone else on the call? Who here goes out every week intentionally with samples in hand, ready to go share Posh with people?
I do.
Anyone? Okay, tell me about it, Doris.
Well, because I'm kind of like Tami. I'm kind of out there. I'm not shy. And what I do is, when I just walk, if I'm walking down the street and I see somebody, and if you smile at them, they'll smile back. And a lot of times I just go in and hi. I said, hey, I've got this products that I really want to give to you. I got something that really want to make your day. And usually that's all it starts. And then just kind of tell them about Posh and said, just want to give it to you. No, because a lot of people are like, okay, what do you want? That's their first kind of things like that. Sometimes I'll go through a whole spiel depending on who the person is. Sometimes I'll say, hey, here's a little sample package. I said, take care of yourself today. Go spend some time on you. And that's all I'll say, because I've got everything I have in the packet. And I'll just go on my way. And people just like, wow. And I've had people, the ones actually that I say less to probably are the ones that have come onto my site more than the ones that I've, gone too much. And that's what I did at first. I kind of had to, I wanted to tell them everything from, chunks to, and you don't want to do that.
So that brings up a question. How much of a conversion rate do you see on these? Like, what's your return on investment, or how many samples do you put out, and then how much do you get back as far as orders or hits on your website? Do you invite them to join your VIP group, or are you just giving them samples with like your sale link on it? What are you doing with that? You there, Doris?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay.
No, because I have my card in there. My card has both. It has my website and my my team page. I seem to when I put when I like I don't do it every day because of work, of course. I probably do more poshing on weekends than I do during the week. But there are days when I had my old business, I was more downtown, so I did more then. But I seem to have more people come onto my page because I have a little, on my hand little note on there, I tell them to come join me for sales and free Posh. Or, to be able to maybe earn some free Posh. And that seems to really get people, everybody likes free stuff. And they're just curious, who's this crazy lady handing out stuff? So I get a lot of people that come on my, into my site. In fact, I would say since I started in February, I probably have gotten about 100 people from giving out samples. Now, that doesn't mean they're all buying, but
Right.
at least I've got them in there. I mean, I would say when I do videos, when I do posts, I have anywhere from 40 to 60 people view every post. Now it's just trying to get them to buy. That's my, and I'm working on that. I'm basically going to randomly pick people and I haven't came up with a catchy name yet, but sending out samples to random people in my group. So I'd say it took a while at first, but just like I said, getting it on them and getting, trying, it's hard because when you're giving out samples, I'm not getting information, so I can't follow up. But some of the people I do know, and if I see them on the road, if I see them again, hey, how'd you like those samples? Or how did you, things like that. Like school starting here, I'm giving little samples out to all the little preschool mothers because they're totally stressed about their kids being away for the very first time. So I thought it'd be a perfect way to give samples out. So I asked the preschool teacher if I could have the names of the kids, parents, and I'm going to drop them off at the house, at each house. So that's one way you can do it too.
Cool. I had questions on that then too. So, do you ever ask for information from the people you posh, or are you just giving it to them and leaving the ball in their court?
I would say I'm pretty much leaving the ball into them because uh, for some reason I get more of people don't want to give out their information to strangers. And I found that out because at first I was doing, hey, can I get a number to find out how you like it? It was more of now I do, hey, I got a website, come and join me and tell me on my website what you think. You can message me personally or you can, put it underneath there. So that's what I do. I just, it seemed like whenever I asked people, they backed away, and I think I scared them by asking them, asking complete strangers, can I have your phone number or some way of getting contact with you? They were like, no, what else do you want?
I have noticed that. I think that's been my experience too when I have poshed strangers, because I don't do it frequently. I don't get out a whole lot to begin with, and then when I do, I just don't always think to do it. Um, I've gotten like hung up, like I'm a follow-up person, so probably a big part of why my numbers are so high is because I follow up. I'm gonna be in touch with anyone and everyone I've talked to last week about something. But with strangers, you
Yeah,
can't
it's
really
harder.
ask them. Yeah, you can't really ask them for their numbers, so the follow-up is hard unless you're like poshing maybe people that you run into on occasion when you're out during your normal weekly routine. Then I guess you could follow up, like your
Yeah,
hairdresser or whatever. Then I guess you could follow up the next time you see them, and it's
but you
not
have
having to ask.
the one thing though about like with me, I live in a very small town. I know practically three-fourths the people in my town, so I've already poshed everybody practically, in the businesses here and everything. So I'm going out of my town. So I got a town that's 15 minutes away, and so I've been hitting that. So I'm trying to broaden, or how'd you put it, widen my circle, but yeah, like that's probably my biggest thing is, just trying to come up with something, hoping that they come on at least to get them interested and go from there. And
Okay,
then
so
do a lot of craft shows.
for those of us that aren't like you and Tammy, who are extroverts and fun and outgoing, and so for those of us like me who are a little more
Concert.
introverted and scared,
Uh-huh.
what advice would you give to people like me who maybe it's not naturally in us to go up and talk to people?
Basically, like I said, smile. Go up to somebody. Smiling, I mean, everybody, I mean, you see people that come up to you. When they smile at you, what do? You smile back. Even if you're having a bad day, say, hey, if somebody looks like they're having a really rough day, you walk up to them, hand them the packet and say, you know what, you look like you really need some, pampering, or just come up with a little thing that you can say, so you don't have to think about it, so you don't have to stutter about it. Mine is constant when I go up there is I'm like, hey, you look like you need something special today, and you look like you deserve it, so here's the little samples. There's information in there. If you've ever got any questions or anything, there's a card in there. You can get a hold of me. But you know what, have a great day, because you know what, you look pretty special. And then I just walk away, and it makes them interested, like, wow, she doesn't want anything. But giving somebody a compliment, I noticed that you're having, or it doesn't have to be somebody that's down. I can say, hey, you know what, I love your smile, I think you deserve this. Or, hey, I love that shirt you got on. Or just any little thing that means that you're looking at them, that you're showing them some kind of attention. Because everybody wants to be noticed at one point or another.
I love what you just said, and I'm going to touch on it for a second because one of the things that I did before Posh is I co-own a doula agency, but in that, so for the last couple of years, I've done business training, and I've helped women learn how to start to share their businesses with people. And so I've done a lot of branding consults and things like that. And one of the things we talk about is if someone asks, what's a doula? Because honestly, a lot of people don't know what a doula is at all. And so you want to have a quick answer that kind of gives all of the information readily available, but that's still friendly and relatable. And basically, it's an elevator pitch. And the same thing is true. I mean, that's a salesy term, but I think the same thing is true with us with Posh because maybe not everyone knows what Posh is yet. Like, we're still a pretty new baby company. So I do think it's important to have something prepared maybe that would help to alleviate some of the stress about stumbling over words or not knowing what to say. Even just a quick one-liner prepared. Like, I love that. Like some kind of opening line where it's just like, hey, I noticed that this was going on. You look great. I'd love to make your day a little bit better. Here's a little something. Like, I love that. And I think that that's Posh. I mean, that's our brand. We're supposed to be sharing, pampering, and making people feel good and making people have a good day. So I love that. I think I'm going to do that. And the whole thing with just having a genuine compliment for someone, I think sometimes we trip over that because we don't want to be insincere or fake or like we're flattering them. But that's not it at all. Like, I think what you're both saying, because I saw Tammy nodding in vigorous agreement as Doris was talking about that, because um, everybody wants to feel special and everyone wants to have a little bit of attention and to feel good about something. So I think it's a great idea, and that's such a simple way to approach someone. It's not like we're trying to go get a sale from somebody. So I think if we change our intention to, I want to brighten their day, and I have something that can help do that. And so instead of going into it with the pressure of, I need to convert this person to a customer, maybe we go in with the thought, I just want to brighten this person's day, and I have something that can do that. So that takes the pressure off for someone like me who's scared to go up and do that because I love to make people feel better. That is something that I love to do. So that's a good place to start. It's just, hey, I just saw you with your daughter, and because like even just the other day I was at the Foothills Mall and I saw this mom who was just clearly tired. Her kid was in the stroller crying. Her 5-year-old was like pulling on her arm, and all she was trying to do was get a smoothie. And I felt so bad for her. And she's the exact kind of person that I could have been like, hey, you know what? You work really hard and you're an awesome mom and you deserve to take some time out for you and I have something for you. Here you go. And that would have been so simple to do. So I think for me, I need to reframe in my head why I'm going out and sharing samples because I'm very goal and results oriented in my personality. And so everything I do is very intentional with an outcome in mind. And so maybe I stop going in thinking about it from a sales perspective and I just go into it thinking about it as a this person deserves it perspective. So I love that, having one little line, a little compliment to give to somebody, and just a way to brighten their day. I love that. I see you, Tammy. So what are your thoughts? Let me unmute you. Where are you? It won't let me unmute you. Yeah, do a little dance. It won't let me unmute you. So do sign language or Pictionary or something. I don't know. But I see Charlie commenting over here too. And I'm a lot like you, I think, Charlie. Like, we both have really giving personalities. And so I think if we tap into that instead of trying to think of it as a sales thing, like, we just want to give. We just want to make them feel good and share something wonderful with them that day. And I think thinking of it that way, I know for me, just took a lot of pressure off of it. I don't feel as pressured by that. So, Tami, I want to hear from you, and it won't let me unmute you. Come back. So I see in the chat also people are talking. So Charlie says, here's a little sample to make your day a little more special. Have a great day. I love that. It is so simple, and I just love that. I think it's great.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go for it.
Should I take my? I'll put my camera on so Margot
Yeah,
can
let's
lip
see you
read.
so Margot can read your voice.
Awesome. So what kind of attracted me to Posh is, like, I've seen that direct, like, multi-level marketing, direct sales, and like the boutique. You know how like Posh kind of inserts itself between those two because we are urban and we are trendy and we're not necessarily the traditional kind of direct sales company. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? That kind of graphic. My chat's not working, which is why I'm okay. I guess yes. Okay. So that's like, we're not Tupperware. No, nothing against Tupperware, but we are really different from that, and we are on trend. I have a hard time rectifying some of, and that's I want help from Tami and Doris and Charlotte and everyone. I live in a not like the opposite of where Doris lives, the polar opposite. I live in a huge city, and people don't like, if I would be smiling at them, they'd be like, "What's wrong with you?" So obviously I can follow up in like my salon, my post office, things like that. But how would you ladies recommend like engaging with this and breaking into a market in an urban environment, which Posh really does try to foster kind of a business ethos that attracts a young population and an urban population, but how do we translate that sort of like, hey, how you doing, to places where people don't make eye contact, to places where people have a lot of personal space issues, like we don't have large places to live, we don't have our own cars, so the last thing someone wants is you to come up to them. For the past 6 months, I've just kind of thought, well, it's what I won't do. I'll just do social media, which has been pretty successful. I'll just do friends, coworkers. But does anyone, I mean, would the strategies that Tami and that Doris are talking about, do you think they'd work in a more urban environment, or that's kind of my question? And I know I've chatted, but it's weird, so sorry. I'm gonna mute myself and turn the camera off again so I can hear from other people. I just got on here because my chat wasn't working. Okay.
Yeah, so that is an excellent question, Rebecca, and I would wonder the same because you are in a bigger city. Tucson is kind of small town, big city, but it does have more of an urban kind of feel. It's not like small town where everybody knows each other and says hi, and like here it's like we're more friendly here than say when I lived in Washington, D.C. But it's definitely not necessarily like a, hey girl, how's it going? How's your aunt doing? You know, like we don't know each other, and it's very much a more separated kind of vibe. So that's a really good question. Would this translate to something more like New York City? I mean, you're New York City posh, so I don't want you getting shot on the subway because you're like interrupting someone's time on the bus, you know?
I think yes. For the simple fact of, because I've done it in, I mean, it's not probably New York, but I've done it in Chicago, I've done it in Denver, I've done it in Minneapolis, where when you're in a bigger group, and like you said, people won't look you in the eye, a more scarier environment is what I call it. You have to kind of, you're not going to be able to posh everybody. What I ended up doing is I looked around, and I'm just not, like you said, I'm not shy. So I probably went up to the ones that were more don't look at me, don't notice me, because those are the ones I wanted them to realize that people were noticing them, that they were, special. So just, I think it was more the ones, that was where I did less talking and more of just like what Charlotte put on there, simple fact. Hey, you know what? you look like you need this, or not even that. It was just, hey, this, I'd like to give you this because I think you're special. Hand it to them, walk away. And people are like, whoa, because, so it works in any kind of environment. I mean, it's like if there's a big, I've never been in a subway, so I don't know about how that, but I was in a really big, like arena type area with a lot of people, and we were like body to body, and you just start talking a little bit, say, hey, here I've got some of these samples, something to do. Let's do something. Some people just kind of backed away from me. The other people said, hey, sure. So it's out there. It's just a little bit different. You got to kind of, you can do the same thing. You just got to have that smile on it and give it your best. But I don't think, like I said, Minneapolis, I did a big convention there, probably 500 people in the convention hall. I handed a few things out and stuff when I had the chance and stuff, but I use the same methods as in a big group or in the big city as I do in a small town. Because they're like what Tami said, a cop in my small town of Wisner is the same thing as a cop in New York. He's a cop. The teacher in New York City is the same thing as a teacher here. Somebody might have a little bit more stress, so they may need to push more than my Midwestern people. So and that's something you can say. Hey, you know what? I know you look like you've had a really stressful day at work. You need to take care of yourself. Hand them the sample. I don't see any, like I said, it's just, I know being hard to get out there when there's a bigger group or that type of people that won't look at you or don't want to have any touch with you. You just got to keep trying.
Yeah, I actually do agree with you. I tend to believe that people are people. Whether they're big city people or small town folk, people are people, and we all deserve to feel better, and we all want to take care of ourselves, I think. So I do tend to agree with that. I think it might be a little more of a challenge for people like Rebecca and people who are in bigger cities where it is more urban and not quite as, social, where people know each other and stuff. But yeah, I do think that it's going to have the same awesome effect on people as it does for them. I think we just need to suck it up and do things that maybe we wouldn't normally do. And I know Tammy's over here, get uncomfortable. Yeah, I know. I'm always telling people to get uncomfortable, get out there and do stuff that you wouldn't normally do. And this is one area that I need to start taking my own advice a little bit more. Because I do think that it is one of those things that even though it feels uncomfortable at the moment, it will pay off. So good thoughts and discussion today. Does anyone else have anything they want to share about poshing strangers, what works for you, what doesn't? I did show in my sampling video how I just staple a sample to a business card. I know Tami likes to give out several samples, so she might have like a cute little bag or something that she puts those in. So I think how you sample is different, and it's different for everybody. I know some people actually give out like full little packets for people that they carry around with them. So I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. Yeah, see, Tami has cute little bags and envelopes for hers, and she poshes people with, yeah, those are such cute little packages. So I might need to step up my sampling game for my stranger poshing, because I like to do, so my challenge to myself, because this is not what I'm natural at, my challenge for myself is to take 5 business cards with a sample attached and don't come home until I've given those 5 samples out. I also like to posh like my post office person and my mailman, because he does a lot of work at my house. So I'll typically just leave like a little thing in the mail slot for him, just, hey, you've been working really hard. Thank you so much. Here's some stuff. And then I'll give him a few extras and be like, feel free to pass these along to anybody you think might enjoy it. And he's never come back with those samples. He's never like left them in my mailbox. So I'm hoping that he's passing those samples out to people too, because he's got a whole route full of people. So he probably has some people he could be passing those out to. So yeah, Dina, I think a lot of people give out a ton of samples, and that is great. Um, and I'm never going to tell someone not to do what they're doing, especially if it's working for you. Keep doing it. I know that, like what you mentioned, I think the more samples you give, sometimes the less chance they use them all. I think that's true. Like there are people that I used to posh and I would give like 6 or 8 samples to, and I would check back with them and they had tried the hand cream and I asked them what they thought of the mask or the scrub or whatever. They're like, oh, I haven't even tried it yet. So I feel like when you give them 1 or 2, then they're more likely to actually use those and give you feedback, as opposed to giving them tons of it. Plus, just from a cost perspective, I give out 200 to 500 samples a month as it is, and I'm just giving 1 or 2 to people. So if I gave everybody 3, 4, 5, 6 samples, I'd be broke. I wouldn't have commissions left. So it's been just as effective. I mean, my numbers are really, really good. So my numbers are just as effective using smaller amounts of samples. However, if it's people that you know or that you're acquaintances with, and like if I have a friend at church or whatever that, I see in passing, I might give her 3 or 4 samples, even though I don't know her a whole lot. I might give her 3 or 4 samples just because I think she might like certain things. And so if it's someone that's not a total stranger, like if it's someone that maybe I know as a friend of a friend, I might customize that sample pack a little bit and give a few more. But for poshing total strangers, I stick with 1 or 2 unless it's like a special circumstance. But my kids are busting through the door, and it's not time for me to get off here just yet. But so I would say do what works for you. When I give tips or advice, it really is just a tip. It's not like a hard and fast rule. You have to find what works for you. I'll be out in 5 minutes. We are almost done. So do we have any more questions? Anybody got questions? Thank you so much, Tami, for sharing your enthusiasm and for those little tips about just, one line here or there, to kind of introduce the idea to people. And just to be friendly, not to be salespeople, but to be friends and to be friends with people. So thank you guys so much for coming onto the call today. I really appreciate it, and it was a really good discussion today. So if you guys have questions about sampling and poshing strangers and getting out there and getting comfortable with talking with people, feel free to post those in the comments. I'm going to post the recording of this in our group. But always be asking questions and be growing and pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zones. Get uncomfortable is what Tami said. Get uncomfortable, no excuses. And she's my kind of girl because that is how I live and that is what I tell everybody anyway. So have a great Thursday, and my challenge to you is to put together 20 samples and get out there and give 20 people a better day through Posh. So by the end of the weekend, I want you to come back and tell me that you have poshed 20 new people. Okay? Bye.